Thank you, members. Can I ask you please to remain standing? I would like to introduce Reverend Dr. Paul Edmondson to lead us in a thought before today's meeting. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Good afternoon, everybody. It's that time of year again to celebrate Shakespeare's birthday. Laurel wreaths, sprigs of rosemary tied with yellow and black ribbon, Shakespeare's colours, not Lib Dems, and floral tributes at the ready. The Morris dancers and flagpoles are on standby. Guest speakers and VRPs are longing for a glass of fizz. People are eagerly clutching their tickets for the birthday lecture. The choir of Holy Trinity Church are practicing their newly commissioned anthem. This year's guest preacher is timing his sermon with great care. The marathon runners are making their way to the starting blocks. The geese at Mary Arden's farm are queuing up in the hope that one of them will be chosen to provide a feather to be used for this year's quill, which will be carried from Shakespeare's birthplace to his grave at the front of the procession. Why do we bother? We bother because our town and district lead the adoration and love for Shakespeare on behalf of the wider world. We are Shakespeare's friends, and every year we can say, and indeed raise a toast from deep within us, as his friend and fellow playwright Ben Jonson did in 1623, to the memory of my beloved, the author, Master William Shakespeare, and what he hath left us. Celebrating Shakespeare in Stratford-upon-Avon goes back at least as far as David Garrick's 1769 Jubilee. Writing in 1820, the essayist and critic Leigh Hunt proposed that Shakespeare's birth date should be a regular subject for public rejoicing. He thought that ladies should be crowned with violets, and that the assembled party should take it in turns to read quotations from Shakespeare's works before a bust of the man himself during the course of the evening. Our Shakespeare birthday celebrations continue to evolve. New traditions seem to start each year. This year, I'm pleased to note that Stratford Bid will be hosting a community picnic banquet table on Henley Street, and that the Town Council, Rother Street Arts House and the Attic Theatre are hosting free events during the Saturday afternoon. Escape Arts are even hosting a Mad Hatter's tea party, and why not? However you intend to take part in the Shakespeare birthday celebrations this year, I hope you enjoy them, and if you're not intending to take part, then I hope you may enjoy and encourage other people's enjoyment. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. I declare the meeting open. You may now be seated. There are no planned fire alarms scheduled at this time. Therefore, should the fire alarm go off, please make your way out of the building via the nearest fire exit to the car park beside the Windmill Public House. Councillors, when addressing the meeting, please stand and ensure your microphone is switched on and that you speak directly into the microphone so that when it is picked up via the live audio feed. When you've finished addressing the meeting, please turn off your microphone immediately. Please do not move the microphone from its set position, and when speaking, ensure the microphone is directly in front of you and not to the side or up high. Item 1, apologies for absence. David, are there any apologies for absence?
Chair, no, there's no apologies. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 2, do any members or officers have any declarations of interest on the items on the agenda? Councillor Wally-Hoggins.
Yes, all homes owned by the Wally-Hoggins family, which are in this district, rely on oil-fired central heating as they are off-grid areas. My dear husband Marcus, owns and is the director of 2 companies, the main one of which is a fuel distribution company employing over 30 local people and which has proudly served this area and this district for over 60 years. He's also a director of a central heating installation company and will therefore not be taking part and will leave this chamber when item 14 on this agenda is discussed.
Thank you, Councillor Whalley-Hoggins. Councillor Petrovich.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to declare that I'm in a paid employment with the Office of Manuela Pesagella, the MP for Stratford-on-Avon, and therefore indirectly work on a number of policy areas, specifically in relation to items 10, 11 on this agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more? Oh, Councillor Holmes.
Thank you. Yeah, for full transparency, I know that I say this every meeting, but yeah, I work for the Office of Manuela Pesagella, MP, but come to this with an open mind, and there's no prejudice for any of the items going forward.
Thank you. Marcia.
Thank you, Chair. Just a point regarding declaration of interest, which has been raised by some members because, of course, they use fuel of all types, but in particular oil. And in this particular debate under item 14 at part 1, there is a specific item on that. So the reference and decision, as agreed with the Chair, is that there'll be a dispensation on that item so that parties can discuss freely and debate freely on that item. And Chair, if I may just add at this particular juncture that as the proceedings continue under your chairship, there is a reminder that we are in pre-election period, and so there is a real importance on sticking to a fact-based debate that is not charged by any political party or leaning. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. Any further declarations of interest? Okay, moving on to item 3, the minutes. I now seek a proposer for the minutes of the meeting held on the 23rd of February. Councillor Alcock.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I'm happy to propose the minutes are accepted as they are.
Thank you. And do we have a seconder? Councillor Ballinger.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I second them out as they are. Thank you.
Thank you. Are the minutes agreed? Thank you. Now we move on to announcements, and these are my chair's announcement. We'll go through them very quickly. I've been quite busy in the last few weeks. I can see. Right, go ahead. Is it going to change? Thank you. So these are some highlights. The Literary Festival, music at Kes. That was a particularly talented 14-year-old violinist who seems to be winning every competition there is. Moving on, thank you. I can't actually see the pictures from here. Yes, the opening of the Sunday Upmarket and the Muslim Association in Leamington Spa. That was very interesting. Moving on. Mayor of Warwick's charity fashion show, Kenilworth Quiz Night. Moving on. Shakespeare Hospice Ball. This is a lovely man called Colin who lost his wife to cancer last year, and the hospice looked after his wife, and he set up this ball entirely on his own. And it was very, very successful and raised over £8,000 for the hospice. Mayor of Shipston Civic Service, moving on. International Day of Action for Rivers. That was a terrific conference at the Crown Plaza. Manuela Pesagella and myself sat on a panel answering questions about water. There you go. Didn't know I knew so much, really. The Union Civic Dinner, Mayor of Banbury, moving on. More civic dinners, Choral Society, moving on. Rugby Club lunch, Senzone event at Meon Vale. I would imagine, Councillor Keithy, you're aware of this wonderful group. It's a lady who set it up entirely on her own for children with severe autism, and she runs it once a month, and she relies totally on donations. great initiative, and everyone was very happy. So I think that's my announcements. But before we move on to Susan's announcements, if I may beg your indulgence just for one moment. Councillor Letty Petrovic is soon to go on maternity leave. I think we all wanted to wish her well and send her lots and lots of love. We have a little something for you. Would you like to come up and receive it? This is from the whole council. Well done, Letty. Lots of love to you. Thank you. So I now invite the leader, Councillor Susan Juned, to make any announcements.
Thank you very much. I would like to start by, I better stand. I'd like to confirm and congratulate Councillor Cliff Brown on becoming the Armed Forces Covenant Champion. Just to let you all know that I've completed the required training and received my carbon literacy certificate as a member of this council, and the District Council now is aiming for the silver accreditation under that award scheme. I visited the Rail Innovation Centre with my colleagues from the Cabinet to see their work, including the new test track and the green hydrogen train. And I met with the new chair of the Arden Food Bank that's just been set up, newly set up as a charity to cover areas like Ulster and Studley to discuss their future plans. And I was updated by the Shakespeare Birthplace Trust on their plans for the future and what help they would like to have from the District Council. And I'm continuing to visit those organisations that have been funded by the District Council's Climate Change and Nature Fund and to hear some of the innovative ways in which communities and organisations are using the money. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Susan. Oh, yes?
Thank you, Chair. If I could just make an announcement as well, please.
Yes, you can. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Some of you are aware that my fellow member, ward member, Chris Mills, is his birthday on this weekend. He's 80. But also, he's on the Saturday, he's doing a wing walk as well. A lot of people say that he's always got his head in the clouds in any case. But we've been practicing for the last 6 weeks. I've been driving around and Chris has got his head out the sunroof. So I'm sure if this weekend, if we can raise a glass and wish him well for his wing walk. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Good luck, Chris. I'm now going to call on Marcia Eccleston, Monitoring Officer, to say a few words, please.
Thank you, Chair. So the Chair has asked me to reiterate the rules of debate for today. Given the length of the agenda, the normal rules would normally be 5 minutes for each councillor to reference. On this particular occasion, it will be 3 minutes on all items throughout the whole of the agenda. So debate at 3 minutes throughout the whole of the agenda, and it would be until the end of this meeting that the normal rules are suspended. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Marcia. I now invite Chief Executive David Buckland to make further announcements.
Thank you, Chair. Just one announcement, Chair. So hopefully everybody's received on Friday an explanation as to why the 6th motion on today's agenda will not be debated for constitutional reasons. Within that explanation that was provided was reference to a further discussion. Pleased to announce that will be held, God willing, week commencing the 4th of May. So we're still seeking to secure a date, but it will be within that week. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Buckland. Councillor Pemberton. Councillor Parker.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Perhaps you'll forgive me for just saying a few words about the motion which has been pulled today.
I'm going to call on Marcia to say something.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Again, just of Councillor Parker, may I just ask in what terms you're expecting to speak, because the item is no longer on the agenda.
That's correct, and I'm not going to speak about what was in the motion. I would just like to speak about the not being able to talk about the motion. It will be very brief. I always am.
As long as it's brief, Councillor Parker.
Thank you again, Chair. So I just want to make clear to colleagues that I've not withdrawn this motion. It has been pulled, and I think that's just a semantic point, but I'd like to make it clear. The plan has changed a lot since the preferred options stage. It's taken a really bad turn for the worst. And my bringing this forward was simply...
I think, Councillor Parker, that is not appropriate. We are not debating this motion. Please, can you keep just to simple sentences without being political? Thank you.
Of course. So what I am really clear about is that more discussion within this group is going to help the plan, and it was only brought forward on that basis that we can help bring this plan forward, and I look forward to talking about this in due course. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Pemberton, I hope it's brief as well.
As ever, Chair.
Yes.
It's not much of a... I would just merely like to make a couple of comments, if I may, following on from Councillor Parker's remarks, as I was the seconder of the motion. There is a desire for a discussion. I note the Chief Executive's commitment to a further gathering of members of this council. My understanding of the terms of reference of that is that it will not be a formal meeting of council. We'll have no ability to bind council. I think Councillor Parker and I have concerns about the format of the meeting, and I think that certainly members of, certainly as leader of the Conservative group, and I talk also on behalf of the leader of the Green group and the Reform group, we would welcome the opportunity for a discussion with the Chief Executive at the earliest possible opportunity to discuss the terms of trade for that meeting, if you will, to ensure that there is an opportunity for all members to be able to positively contribute to the debate that will inform the provision or the preparation of Regulation 19 and thereafter. But I think it is just to make the point that as the proposers and seconders,
I think you've made your point.
we're not 100% happy, but note with good grace the offer made by the Chief Executive.
Thank
and we'll
you.
look forward to working with him. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pemberton. Any further comments? Although you shouldn't really be doing that. Item 5, public participation. In accordance with the Council's constitution, questions may only be asked when received by the head of paid service 2 clear days before the day of the meeting. You'll be pleased to know there are none. Item 6 is minute 555 from the Cabinet meeting held on 9th of March regarding the local development scheme. I invite Councillor Coucher to introduce this item.
Thank you very much, Chair. We, as an authority, have a duty to publish our local development scheme. The last iteration of this was in March 2025. This is a regular review and a very timely review, given the position that we are with regard to the South Warwickshire local plan, which is progressing on at a rapid rate. The recommendation that we have to this council which was approved certainly by Cabinet and therefore comes forward to the Council with their full support. That the timetable for the preparation of local plan documents as outlined in that Cabinet report be approved and that the Stratford-on-Avon District Local Development Scheme be revised accordingly. The second provision that the site allocations plan, which is now really out of date, be withdrawn from the local development scheme on the date the South Warwickshire Local Plan Publication Regulation 19 document commences public consultation, which will be in June, and no longer be progressed as a development plan document by the Council, and that the revised local development scheme be brought into effect in accordance with section 15(7) of the Planning and Compulsory Purchase Act 2004 as amended. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Coucher. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Curtis.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'll second this proposal and reserve my right to speak. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any members who wish to speak on this? Now, come on. I'm expecting a 4-hour meeting. Come on, guys. Anyway, Councillor Curtis, please.
Really, I have, in that case, I have very little, very little to add.
You've only got 3 minutes.
Councillor Coucher. It's extremely important that we have a very tight timetable to get these issues confirmed. So I'm just going to sit down. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So is it agreed that the recommendations in the report are approved? Thank you very much. Item 7, minute 556 from the Cabinet meeting held on the 9th of March 2026 regarding the Stratford-on-Avon air quality strategy. I invite Councillor Grocott to introduce this item.
Thank you, Chair. So I'm pleased to introduce this report recommending from the Cabinet report the adoption of the Stratford-on-Avon air quality strategy. I'd like to thank Environmental Protection Officers for producing this detailed report and to the whole team for the ongoing work they perform in protecting our environment. I think it's important to recognise the good progress we've made as a district to improve the air quality for our residents. In 2025, we were able to revoke the 2 air quality management areas in the district, in Stratford-upon-Avon and Studley. This reflects years of improvements through cleaner vehicle technologies and better transport and planning processes. I'm pleased to say that the air quality across our district is good and continues to improve. However, this doesn't mean our work is finished, as air pollution remains one of the biggest environmental risks to our public's health in the UK. National guidance makes it clear that the Council should continue taking proactive steps even when legal limits are being met. This strategy allows us to do this as it sets out a clear district-wide approach to reducing residents' exposure to air pollutants, focusing on key areas such as road transport, industry and domestic emissions. It also supports this administration's wider goals, including our climate change emergency declaration and a commitment to improving the health and well-being of our communities. So adopting this strategy will ensure we continue to protect the health of our residents and meet our statutory responsibilities and build on that strong progress we've already made. For those reasons, I'm happy to propose the recommendation in the Cabinet report that Council adopts the Stratford-upon-Avon air quality strategy. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Grocott. Do I have a seconder for this, please? Councillor Keithley.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to second this, and I would like to reserve my right to speak.
Thank you. Members, are there any of you that wish to make a comment? Councillor Wally-Hoggins.
I do feel that the self-congratulation regarding the targets being achieved with regard to our air quality, I think perhaps we should, are premature. I think perhaps our residents need to enjoy the clean air while it lasts, because as soon as the details of the South Warwickshire Local Development Plan are out there, and with the implications that all that houses and that transport needs and the such increased need to use cars, and not forgetting the actual building of the houses, that the air quality in this district will radically plunge to depths never previously recorded within this district. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wally-Hoggins. Any further comments on this? Oh, Councillor Juned, sorry.
Yeah, there was actually a recent parliamentary report on air quality strategy across the country, and the reasons why there has been an improvement, and the main reason for improvement has been the change in habits, particularly of those that are driving diesel and fossil fuel petrol cars. There has been a change in behaviour, but the one thing that the report does say is that we have to remain vigilant, because poor air quality is considered to be the largest environmental risk to public health. But the area that needs the most attention is actually the fine particulate matter, PM, that comes from tyres and also from other activities. And it's not to do with households, it is to do with things like heavy goods vehicle movements and also some industrial movements. I do recommend you read that report. It is actually very interesting to read.
Thank you, Councillor Junod. Any further comments from members? Councillor Keithley then, please.
Yeah, thanks very much. Just in response to Councillor Wally Hoggins, I think in terms of the South Warwickshire local plan, a plan's better than no plan. And if you want to place the blame for all these extra houses anyway, you place it on the government rather than Stratford District Council. Just to say, I'm very pleased to second this initiative and this strategy, as these changes make a real difference to living conditions for residents in Stratford District area. On the 23rd of February, we heard from a member that there was absolutely no point in spending taxpayers' money on projects in Stratford. It's pointless and a waste of money, he said. It won't make any difference globally or locally. Verbatim almost. In response, what I would say is air quality is extremely important. It directly impacts human health, causing cardiovascular and respiratory diseases. It shortens life expectancy. It harms vulnerable groups like children and the elderly. This air quality strategy is a welcome initiative benefiting everyone in the district, including the ward member for Salford Priors and Ulster Rural. Thank you. I second this motion.
Thank you, Councillor Keithley. We have a proposal and a seconder. Can I have a show of hands of those in favour, please? May I have a show of hands of those against? Any abstentions, please? Thank you very much. That's carried. Moving on to item 8, the Constitution Review. Minute 596 from the Audit and Standards Committee meeting held on the 23rd of March regarding the Constitution Review. I invite Councillor Alcock, Chair of Audit and Standards Committee, to introduce this report.
Thank you, Chair. You have in front of you in part of your papers on page 19 the review and the recommendation to Council. 1, that the changes to the Council's constitution as detailed in Appendix 1 to 8 be approved, and 2, that the Leader's statement attached as Appendix 17 be noted. I don't plan to talk more on that. You've had the opportunity to read the paperwork, so I'm happy to propose this, please, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Alcock. Do I have a seconder, please?
I'd like to second, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Fradgley. Are there any members who wish to speak on this matter, please? Councillor Petrovich.
Thank you, Chair. Just briefly, as it has already been noted, I am due to go on my maternity leave shortly, and it is really welcoming to see that the Constitution has now brought in the policy on the parental leave for members, and therefore putting it in line with the LGA guidance on that. And hopefully this will also encourage and give opportunity to other young parents and councillors to participate in local democracy and see that actually they can do it. You can have your cake and eat it and have a baby. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Petrovich. Any further comments, please? Okay, so may I go to the seconder, Councillor Fradgley, please?
I continue my seconding of this motion.
Thank you very much. Can I have a show of hands for all those in favour? Thank you. I think that's unanimous, isn't it? Yeah, thank you very much. Getting on with this quite quickly. Item 9, minute 599, Community Governance Review of the Walfords Joint Parish Council. This is minute 599 from Audit and Standards on the 23rd of March regarding the Community Governance Review of Walfords Joint Parish Council. I invite Councillor Alcock, Chair of Audit and Standards Committee, to introduce this item. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. As before, you have the papers in front of you. And this is something I feel is very positive as well. So it is recommended to Council that the Community Governance Review for the Walfords Joint Parish Council be approved in accordance with the terms of reference and the timetable as set out in Appendix 1 to the Agenda Report, and that the Head of Law and Governance and the Monitoring Officer be authorised to take all necessary steps in relation to the Community Governance Review and terms of reference. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for this, please? Councillor Wally-Hoggins.
I'm happy to second, I'm delighted to second this, and I reserve my right to speak.
Thank you. Do any members wish to speak on this issue? I'll go to... are you speaking rather than seconding, Councillor Wally-Hoggins?
I think I've seconded, and now I would like to speak.
Thank you very much.
If that's agreeable with everybody else.
That's fine. Oh, please speak. Yes.
So, as you all know, I am the district councillor where Great Wolford and Little Wolford reside, and it's been a fascinating experience going through this process. And I'd just like to read out the following to you, because I addressed it to whom it may concern. The Wolfords Joint Parish Council is a testament to what can be achieved through thoughtful and careful attention to future-proofing local governance for residents. Both villages have worked hard to ensure that the Joint Parish Council is inclusive of both villages, with strong and authoritative representation from both villages on the Parish Council. The Parish Council is run efficiently with regular attendance of parish councillors at briefings and training sessions. There were initial concerns regarding assimilation of council tax charges for both villages, but the additional charges of a minimum amount of residents in Little Wolford were met without complaint. I'm also pleased to note that on planning matters, parish councillors work in a cohesive and meticulous way across both villages. I believe that the success of the Wolfords Joint Parish Council serves as an excellent example to other villages considering a joint venture themselves. I am proud of every villager in both Little and Great Wolford who has been brave enough to move forward with this initiative and to embrace the change. By doing so, they have ensured the success of the Joint Parish Council and have secured the local governance of their villages for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wally-Hoggins. We have a proposal and seconder. Can we have a show of hands, please? All in agreement? Thank you very much. Item 10, minute 618, from the Overview and Scrutiny Committee meeting on the 8th of April regarding the Task and Finish Group privately managed public open spaces, flood alleviation schemes and estate roads. I invite David Buckland to say a few words on this, please.
Thank you, councillors. The Overview and Scrutiny Committee Task and Finish Working Group in relation to privately managed public open spaces, flood alleviation schemes and estate roads presented their findings and their 10 recommendations to the OSC meeting on the 8th of April. Under the Council's constitution, the normal practice would be to allow the opportunity for the Cabinet to consider these recommendations before any debate at Council. At the Cabinet meeting on the 13th of April 2026, it was agreed, however, that one of these recommendations can be debated at the Council meeting today. This is the recommendation in 3 parts, which is shown on page 28 of the agenda. The recommendation is a request that Council writes to the Secretary of State on a number of matters in relation to this subject. This was allowed by the Cabinet as there are no resource requirements relating to this recommendation, and there is a degree of urgency on this matter, being that government are expected to publish their response shortly to their consultation exercise, reducing the prevalence of private estate management arrangements, which closed on the 12th of March, and it is felt that the recommendation, if approved, may influence the government's response. Debate today, however, is therefore restricted to the recommendation on page 28. The other 9 recommendations from the Task and Finish Group, which are on pages 29 and 30, will be subject to due consideration by Council ahead of by Cabinet ahead of a further Council debate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Buckland. I invite Councillor Crump, Chair of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee, to introduce this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And members will be pleased to know that intervention from Mr Buckland has cut down my speech by 10 minutes. So 50 minutes to go and we'll be all right. Yes, so yeah, I think that says lots of things. The thing we're discussing today is the item on page 28.
Councillor Crump, it's unusual for me to ask you this, but could you speak a little louder?
Oh.
Some of us can't hear you, believe it or not. Thank you.
Good job I was nearly sat down then, otherwise I would have probably fainted when I heard that, Councillor Ralph. Yes, so thank you for that. Yeah, it's, like I say, we're only talking about the recommendation on page 28. The recommendations on page 29 will, and 30 will come to Council likely to be in July. So brace yourself, in July you've got this to come forward again. So I know you control your excitement, but you've got to wait for a couple of months before that comes. Going back on a serious note, we spent a lot of time on this at Overview and Scrutiny on the 8th of April. In fact, 54 minutes. The pedant in me actually came and looked at the minutes, and yes, 54 minutes and I think about 10 seconds. So, but we ran down for 54 minutes. And why we did that is because it's a very important issue item for many of our residents, and it does create a lot of work for our councillors, and I know Councillor Rolfe will attest to the amount of work she gets from this type of scheme, this type of work. But she's not unique in that. Certainly Councillor Johnston, who was chair of the Task and Finish group of this long-winded, snappily named, privately managed public open spaces, flood alleviation schemes and estate roads, you need to take a breath before you say that. First of all, he told me it was almost like herding cats and trying to nail jelly to a wall. And he'd like me to confirm that he didn't have black hair before the meeting started, even though he felt like he did have. But on a serious note, we've had contributions from residents associations, towns and parish councils. That was slightly disappointing. We only had 17 responses from towns and parish councils, but what they did was very good, and we had some towns and parish councils actually come to the scrutiny committee here in Stratford. I think one from Wellesbourne, one from Stockton, and one from Southam-the-Clocks, and they provided a very informative view of the process. So really...
You have 30 seconds left.
Yeah, very briefly then. There was... Councillor Rock will be again happy that there was some discussion regarding a question and answer session in Parliament in 2025 when Stratford MP Pertugala asked the Minister, Matthew Pennycock, whether changes to the leasehold system would be retrospective. The Minister did not confirm that the intention was for changes to be retrospective. He only discussed tackling injustices in the system by implementing consumer protection provisions. And if members want an excerpt of that for their parent towns and parish councils, let me know. But I really needed to get that point over. So I'm asking the Council to agree the recommendations on pages 28 at one item, but with 3 items A, B and C. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Crump. Do I have a seconder for this, please?
Could I second the motion, please, Chair?
Councillor Johnston, thank you very much. Members, would anyone wish to speak? Councillor Juned.
Yes, could I place on record my thanks to the residents of the Pastures Residents Association from the Kinnerton Parish of Ulster for raising their concerns on this and the management of private open spaces in 2019. Their petition started the process in this council for reviewing private sector management companies and the decision that had originally been taken in 2005 to support the private sector management of public open space by this council. It now needs government to look at the retrospective arrangements and the response to the Competition and Markets Authority report, but also the review and the implementation of Section 3 of the Flood and Water Act Management Act 2010, that to correct past arrangements, but also to make sure that the proper powers are given to those authorities like the lead flood authority, which is Warwickshire County Council, to be able to look at sustainable urban drainage properly, etc., and other organisations to look at flooding.
Thank you, Councillor Junod. Councillor Passingham.
Thank you. I was on this task and finish group, and I thought we did some very valuable work. We heard a lot of representations from residents and residents associations, and from the town councils and some parish councils, and we heard quite a lot of what I consider to be horror stories about the way that private management companies treat their residents, the way they overbill them for things or double bill them for things and charge them a lot more money. The residents felt very unfairly treated because of being double charged in effect for council tax, which amounts to £300–400 in most cases, a year in most cases. So that will mount up over 20 years to a lot of money. So the sooner this fleecehold system is finished, the better. So it's good that we're sending this letter to the government to try and make them enforce whatever legislation they're supposed to be bringing forward. But I look forward to discussing the other 8 points of recommendation once it comes back from Cabinet, because I think there are some important points in that as well that the District Council can do.
Thank you, Councillor Passingham. Councillor Petrovich.
Thank you, Chair. Similarly to other members, I actually had quite a long speech prepared in preparation for debate on all of the recommendations, but given that we're restricted to just the recommendation on page 28, I will keep it short. I was also on this task and finish group, and one of the things that we did as part of the work is to submit our response as a local authority on one of the consultations, which is referenced in the point 8, and that was on the reduction of the prevalence of private estate management arrangements. And what I would just like to kind of pull out from that, and why I think this is important, is that actually there are a number of things in the proposal, the government's proposal, that we responded to that would help and ensure that our residents are not exposed to some of these unfair practices. But it is important to note that this is not just a silver bullet solution. There are a number of things that were suggested there, including consistent applied mandatory standards for infrastructure that needs to be adopted, including highways, public open spaces, SUDs, etc., that we very much supported. But we also recognise that some of the other recommendations or consultation proposals are a bit more nuanced, especially around the mandatory adoption that would potentially come in for local authorities. So essentially local authorities would be mandated to adopt public open spaces. And we recognise in those recommendations that actually there are potential cost implications, and it's not as simple as, yes, we'll just moving forward adopt all of the public open spaces. So it is really important that the government publishes the response as soon as possible, so that we as a local authority, obviously in the context of local government reorganisation as well, know sooner rather than later what we need to be prepared and ready for. So just a little bit of a caveat that it is obviously the government now, the ball is in their court, but the implications of that will be felt by local authorities, including parishes, towns, and future unitaries. So I recommend that we adopt these recommendations, but also looking forward to the debate on some of the other items that are going to have some potential resource implications for this council as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Petrovich. Councillor Wally Hoggins.
Yes, I'm glad that this is finally at the fore, and like many, on behalf of residents across the district, I would like to thank everyone involved in getting this piece of work to us today. It is right and proper that we have an additional debate on this, and I'm quite sure it will potentially extend the length of time that was spent on it of overview and scrutiny committee. Notwithstanding that, I don't think that we should have to wait until the government come back with what their proposals and recommendations are, because we have the potential, especially with the amount of planning applications that all of us are dealing with across this chamber, to make it very clear with open spaces within larger developments that those are adopted. We want them to be adopted by parish councils and town councils, and in so doing I do think that we could be stronger with our recommendations to those developers in saying you will need to recompense, front load the financial, if you like, obligations of that parish council in order to move that forward. We can do this now. We can absolutely make it clear to those developers that this is where we're going with this, and I don't think any opportunity should be lost. And I would hope that we could get some reassurance from officers and cabinet members that this will be done as a matter of course from today's vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wally-Huggins. Councillor Bromwich.
Yeah, so I fully welcome everything the Task and Finishing Group have done. I do have a little concern, however, about with central government, because within announcing their proposed changes, it's disturbed me this year for residents who have come up to me and on about the companies walloping up their charges. And I think as councillors, we need to keep an eye on that and make sure that they're not looking to gain now to potentially make the money that the future will take away from them. So it's just a little word of caution as part of these management companies. Councillors, we need to keep very diligent and stand up for our residents.
Thank you, Councillor Bromwich. Any further comments from members before I bring in the seconder? Councillor Johnston, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'm really very little to say except to agree with all the comments that have been made. One of the frustrations of this activity is that whilst members of the council receive representations from residents within private managed company estates, the district council as a statutory body can do very little about it. And we're now looking to the government primarily, I think, to implement the recommendations of the Competition and Markets Authority on setting standards and making those standards enforceable. And I'm very keen to continue to put pressure on that. Lastly, though Councillor Crump, perhaps we were surprised at the small number of parish councils. An awful lot of people have been engaged in this process. Both residents, I think 200 plus responded to our survey, and I think that is going to have a very positive result across the district. I'd like to thank all the staff who are involved as well as the members of what was quite a large Task and Finish group. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Johnston. We have a proposer and a seconder. Can we have a show of hands, please, for all those in agreement? Thank you very much. That is approved. We move on now to minute 631 from the Cabinet meeting held on 13th of April 2026 regarding the housing allocation scheme. I invite Councillor Coles to introduce this item.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to start by thanking the housing team who have worked extremely hard to produce a very well prepared and very strong piece of work in this allocation scheme. I would also like to take the time to thank all of the people who contributed to the public consultation, including residents and stakeholders, and also, again, to my colleagues here today in Council.
I apologise, Councillor Coles.
Can you all hear me?
Could you speak up a little,
Can you
please?
hear that? Can you hear me? Right. Did you hear the first bit, or do you? You did? Oh, excellent. Right, well, really good. Well, I would just like to extend my thanks to all my colleagues here in Council for their contributions to the workshop and to the work that was done and the consultation on this. Having your input into this has been extremely helpful and has contributed to, I think, an extremely strong scheme. This is the scheme which we intend to, having followed a very full and thorough public and stakeholder consultation, and it has been designed to ensure a fair and transparent targeting of what is sadly a very limited supply of social housing. It reflects changes in legislation, it reflects our local housing pressures, and it, with this strong consultation report of 80 to 95% agreement with our recommendations across the papers, gives us the confidence to be able to bring it forward. It strengthens support for those fleeing domestic abuse, for armed forces households, and for those with medical and welfare needs. It clarifies support for local needs, including the employment of key workers within the district. The recommendation to Council are here on the Cabinet things, but I will read them again, that we endorse the housing allocation scheme, authority be delegated to the Head of Housing Revenues Customer Services to take the necessary steps to implement it, and authority be delegated to the Head of Housing Revenues Customer Services in consultation with the portfolio holder to make minor amendments to the housing allocation scheme. And I would like to recommend that to Council to be approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Coles. Do I have a second to this, please? Councillor Brown, thank you. Are there any... Oh.
Yeah, thank you. I will second it. I'm not going to reserve my right. I'm just going to say that it's important that we have an understandable, a fair and equitable system. This appears to fit the bill as far as I'm concerned. I did understand it, read it quite thoroughly, and I would commend it to people. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any members who wish to speak on this, please? Councillor Wally-Hoggins. Oh, I beg your pardons. I do beg your pardon, Councillor Wally-Hoggins. Councillor Greycott first, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, thank you, Chair. Yes, I'd like to commend the strong commitment to supporting serving and former members of the armed forces in this housing allocation scheme. By strengthening the provisions for armed forces households within the scheme, Stratford District Council is honouring the Armed Forces Covenant and recognising the unique challenges faced by service personnel and veterans. Frequent postings, service-related mobility and discharge can cause housing instability. As the mother of a serving member of the Royal Navy, I know exactly how disruptive the ending of a posting can be to an individual and a washing machine. And the Council's approach helps to mitigate these pressures by providing priority access to social housing for those who do not have the similar family support in place. Moreover, we can see from the survey that this commitment was reflected in broad public support for the scheme and highlighted how vital it is that members of the armed forces and their families are treated with respect and given the housing opportunities they deserve. So I like to thank them for this transparent and compassionate approach, which sets a positive example on how local authorities can meet their obligations and truly support those who serve and have served our country. It's a good step towards building stronger and supportive communities for all of our residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Greycott. Councillor Wally-Hoggins.
Yes, this is an outstanding piece of work, and I commend all those involved with it. And obviously, that really does go to the officers. Crucially, this document better reflects the needs of all the residents of this district. It better reflects the needs of those residents because nobody knows what tomorrow holds. But this document will give them some comfort in whatever challenges our residents may encounter. Thank you. Thank you very, very much for this.
Councillor Pemberton, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. I just wanted to say this is a great piece of work. The officers have done a good job. The engagement with stakeholders has been first rate. Members, particularly Councillor Wally-Hoggins, brought forward some sensible amendments which were taken on board. They've made the policy better. This is a good piece of work. It takes the housing allocation scheme forward. in a really positive way, makes it fit for purpose as we move forward. And I just wanted to thank officers and all those involved in the preparation of that piece of work.
Thank you, Councillor Pemberton. We have a proposer and a seconder. Can I have a show of hands, please, for all those in favour? Thank you. That's unanimous. Thank you. Item 12, councillor questions. There are no councillor questions. Item 13, this is questions to the leader. Note that up to 30 minutes will be allowed for questions, with each councillor permitted to speak for no more than 3 minutes and may ask no more than 2 questions. Due to the time constraint, please keep your questions concise. Please note, for the duration of this item, I will be taking the order of questions sequentially by political balance. So, do I have any questions, please? Oh, God. Anyway.
Could I ask you to just keep your hands up for 1 minute while I just take a note of your names? Okay. Council, if I call your name, could you lower your hand just to make sure I've got everybody's name? I have Councillors Alcock, Ballinger, Holmes, Johnston, Parry, Shenton, Pemberton, Bromwich, Wally Hoggins, Jones. Oh, sorry, and Deputy Leader, Councillor Coucher.
Just bear with me while I sort this order out, because we differ. There you go. Okay, I am going to start with Councillor Coucher.
Leader, we have a number of properties in this district which are problematic. To name but 2 properties owned by owners that don't seem to be progressing anything on them with any great speed. I would mention the BHS site here in Stratford, and indeed the 3-ton site, which I know you know very well, in Ulster. Should we become, the question to you is, should we be becoming more proactive in resolving these outstanding matters?
Councillor Junod.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. I went on a webinar with the LCN, particularly because I wanted to make sure that we were being as proactive as possible. The webinar was about heritage buildings that were falling into disrepair and dilapidation, and what could local authorities do about it. It is a problem that occurs right across the country, particularly when you have investment companies that are based overseas for tax reasons. In making sure that you get hold of the owners in the first place, but also then on doing something about it. I have to say, I've spoken to the Deputy Chief Executive here, who's already taking some of these questions on board, particularly with the 3 tons, trying to find ways in which they can engage with West Midlands Heritage Trust, I think it's called, but also to make sure that there could be not only engagement with the owner, but maybe engagement with sources of funding, maybe doing something about viability assessments, etc. We do need to be proactive. I think we do need and should ask for greater support on this, particularly from government about ownership of dilapidated buildings and the ways in which local government can be more proactive. But we are being proactive as much as we can be within the legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Holmes.
Thank you, Chair. In my ward, it's been confirmed that Great Orme Primary School is going to be shut down by Warwickshire County Council, a decision made solely by Reform councillors in North Warwickshire.
Do you have a point of order, please, Councillor Crump? I'm sorry, Councillor Holmes.
Thank you, Chair. Didn't we mention Purda? Is this acceptable, please?
Thank you, Chair. The reference to a parish area or an area in your ward is not of itself pre-election, unless, of course, what it then appears to be is a reference to electioneering.
I think, well, it's not just the ward, it's the school, I believe, which is for closure by the county council. So therefore, one, it's a county council matter, and two, I've got concerns that it could be a political matter as well.
So back to the reference that you've just made, it being a county council matter means that it's outside of our remit to discuss today.
Can I please finish my question?
Councillor, reference your question. If you can phrase your question in a way that is not with an emphasis on something that the county council has to address and is not pre-election specific, then that's fine.
Yep, I have an ask for our leader. We have an immense amount of development going on in this district, which the district council is having to manage at a time where we need even more infrastructure. We're seeing infrastructure in my ward, in Great Orne, being ripped out. At the heart of the village, this closure of the school is going to put pressure onto families, and it's going to make it harder for people to put down roots.
No, I'm sorry, Councillor Holmes. That's not appropriate. I do apologise.
Chair, may I ask whether Councillor Evans can go straight to the question rather than giving the background? What is your question?
Yeah. My simple question is, will the leader stand up to the Conservative-backed Reform administration at County Hall and demand a reverse in this reckless decision? Thank you.
This isn't good enough.
Point of order. Please.
I think that Councillor Holmes is showing considerable disrespect to the monitoring officer, who on more than one occasion in the last few minutes has given clear, unambiguous guidance as to what should and should not be said, and Councillor Holmes has completely ignored that and tried to railroad a political point through.
OK, Councillor Pemberton, I call on Marcia.
Again, thank you, Chair. Back to the Councillor. In terms of this particular point, it was made very clear how you should present your debate here and now, and it would be most appropriate for you to retract what you've just said for the benefit of the Council and the room, but also the Chair.
I will retract the comments associated to any political parties, but I would like her support for my residents in Great Orne, which are losing their school. Thank you.
I'm happy to say that as part of any planning, South Warwickshire local plan, infrastructure is essential to the local plan, and anything like provision of schools in proportion to the amount of houses will be part of the South Warwickshire local plan. I'm happy to take that on board.
Marcia.
So the Chair has just asked me to remind you all, and this will be the last warning, pre-election period rules apply. Do not refer to items which are beyond the decision-making for the District Council either. And if it should occur again, it will need looking at separately on issues of code of conduct.
Is it a point of order, Councillor Littlewood?
Thank you, Chair. Just on that point, I've been a spectator at this point, and the monitoring officer has on 3 occasions warned, and yet cynically the member continued. I view that as a breach of code of conduct. The monitoring officer's opinion is respected.
Again, thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councillor. If that were to be considered, it would not be a matter for open debate before a full council on full camera. But rest assured, all matters are considered.
Thank you, Marcia. Councillor Wally Hoggins.
Thank you. There are 5 objectives in the adopted strategy for the South Warwickshire Development Plan. These objectives relate to climate change, climate resilience, net zero aspirations, and a well-designed and beautiful South Warwickshire, and a well-connected South Warwickshire. Can the leader give any assurances or specify how she's reconciling this? Because there are those of us that feel that these are now aspirational statements or word salad rather than binding constraints on site selection. So my question to the leader is, how are you going to reconcile those objectives with the reality of the South Warwickshire Development Plan as it comes to the fore? I'm not asking you to break any confidentiality there. Thank you.
Councillor Junod.
Can I assure you that all of those issues are being considered as part of the local plan and making sure that they are they are firm proposals that are based on firm deliverables. But one of the things that we do need to be aware of is that the government is changing the legislation, and that is one of the reasons why we need to be able to make sure that the local plan is submitted in December, because under the new arrangements, the new NPPF arrangements and other legislation on planning, if we don't get into in December, some of the sustainable solutions that we need will not be allowable under the new legislation, but also the powers to make decisions about what is best for our communities will be taken out of our hands, taken out of councillors' hands, but it could also be taken out of local authority hands. So that is one of the reasons why we're being very firm and making sure that we are delivering what we are able to do under the legislation in our South Warwickshire local plan. And if you want more details, then there will be a debate, obviously, at Council on June the 8th about the local plan.
Thank you, Councillor Junior. Councillor Alcock.
Thank you, Chair. I've had this raised to me by a resident recently, and they've asked me to bring it up here today. There has been a spate of graffiti through Bishopton Ward, and as any of us who drive down any road anywhere in this district, every single one of us in this chamber can say they have seen graffiti. It does seem to be on the rise, and as I know, it's been raised by other councillors, openly racist, openly offensive, graffiti is around. Leader, can I please have assurance, and also, not for me, but also assurance for the residents of this district, that Stratford District Council will support and ensure that graffiti, and especially racist graffiti, is removed as soon as physically possible, please. Thank you.
A lot of the responsibility for them will be the county council, but I'm happy to make, and I'm sure there are colleagues here that are represent the district at the county council. It is totally unacceptable to have any graffiti, but also say racist abuse graffiti on anything that is in the public domain. And I'm happy as a person, as a leader of this council, to make that representation to those people that are responsible for putting that right.
Thank you, Councillor Junior. Councillor Bromwich.
Yeah, Leader, I am wondering whether you as a leader appreciate members of your cabinet doing covert recordings, which seems to come across as something that we would normally have from the likes of North Korea, China, Russia, and then use those covert recordings for a perceived possible political advantage, especially when they involve members of public at meetings which are non-local authority. Do you think that's acceptable behaviour from your cabinet members?
I'm not aware of any covert behaviour of covert recordings that I'm aware of. Please, if you have any such evidence, and it has to be proper evidence, then that is something that you can report to the monitoring officer.
Monitoring Officer, would you like to say something?
I'll let you speak first, Monitoring Officer.
The first point that I was going to say was that in terms of the concerns that are being raised here, it may be that it needs looking at for fact-based evidence in the first instance before then addressing the query in more detail. And if there are such concerns, it ought really to be done councillor to councillor, not here in the open chamber.
Thank you.
And for my second question, I'm a little bit confused, Councillor Junior. Yourself and Councillor Adam put out a video on social media where you turned around and said Wood Street car park in Southam would never be built on. Yet it was included on a list of potential sites in the October Cabinet meeting, which was ratified last week.
Councillor Bromwich, may I just stop you there? May I just stop you there? Marcia Atkinson would like to say something.
Thank you, Chair. Just needing to understand the background to the questions. If they are concerning district council business, all well and good, but if it's specific to a particular councillor, then need to understand why we need to ask the question here and now of the leader.
No, it's fine. So, as I said, there was a video went out that said Wood Street car park would not be built on, but Cabinet papers appear to differ to this. Which is the accurate part? The Cabinet papers, as we voted through the minutes, or the video? I just need to establish which is the accurate record.
I'm not aware that there has been any reference to any building on Wood Street car park in the Cabinet papers at all. This is the kind of detail and the kind of question that would be better submitted as a written question so that we can make sure that we get officers' reports on this one. But as I say, that the District Council has no plans to build on any District Council-owned car parks that I'm aware of.
Thank you. Councillor Parry, please.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, Leader, and everybody else in the chamber. It's now over 2 months since the budget was approved for funds to help parish councils review their neighbourhood development plans. As a ward member for Wellesbourne and a member of its NPD steering group for Wellesbourne and Walton, please can you advise when the application form for grant funding details for reviewing neighbourhood development plans will be available, as requests for such information to date from the officers have been met with silence. I'm also aware that there are a number of many other parish councils who are equally eager to receive information on how they obtain funding and the criteria for updating their neighbourhood development plans. Thank you, Leader.
Councillor Junot.
I believe, again, this would be the kind of question that would be better put in writing, because then you could get the detail from officers, and I would back you on that. The idea for the budget for NDPs was my suggestion, and I wrote an article on it, a column, leader's column on it, in the Herald, and it's on the website. And it's something that I feel very strongly about, because making sure that communities are embedded in the decision making for their communities after the removal by government for NDP allocations, for budget allocations, was something that I feel very strongly about. So I have made sure that is being taken forward, and you will be updated. But again, this is the kind of detail where it would be useful if you had a written question.
Is it a point of order, Councillor?
I think for a correction, Councillor Parry is absolutely right. She brought forward a notice on motion about funding for NDPs, and the Conservative group in September brought forward and discussed with the Section 151 officer a budget proposal for supporting NDPs. The leader may well have been on the same page as the Conservative group in wanting to find a funding mechanism once the government had withdrawn it, but to suggest that it was solely the leader's own idea is a Stalinist revision of history.
I think you will find that the date on which I wrote the column was probably even before you had done that. But I I need to check that. But it was about the same time. So I think great minds thought alike on this one. Thank you.
Marcia, please.
Thank you again, Chair. I understand that was a point of clarification that was being made, which has been accepted by the Chair in the circumstances. Just one further point, though. When we respond as councillors, and this is a request of the Chair, be respectful in what we say. And this is a reminder to the whole chamber. Thank you.
Now, Councillor Pemberton, you're next for your question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. To some degree, Councillor Bromwich has asked a question that I would have asked, which was when did the leader of the Liberal Democrat group instruct her councillors to covertly record public meetings? She confirms that that is not a policy of the Liberal Democrat group. Councillor Lewis Adam is a cabinet member.
Can I ask a point of clarification? Do you actually
excuse
have
me, Councillor Coles. Do you have a clarification or order?
Order. Do we have
May
any
you stand,
evidence or-
please? Sorry.
Do we have any evidence for this slurs on my colleagues? Actual evidence? Well, I think in that case you should take it offline and deal with it in the proper procedure.
Thank you.
Hang on a second, Councillor Pemberton. I'm going to call for a 10-minute adjournment so we can all have a little break and calm down a little, if we may. And we will be back at 3:30 and there'll be 12 more minutes of questions. Thank you. Announcement, then we will have 12 minutes left of questions. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Council. To make myself slightly unpopular, just to announce that the heating has broken and we are trying to fix it, but I'm sorry, there's not a lot we can do about that at the moment. Sorry, Chair, Council.
I've got a blanket in my car if anybody wants to borrow it. You want to go and get it. I'm now going to call on Marcia to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The Chair's asked me to say a few words because of where we left the earlier debate on the Leader's question. The first thing to say, this is Leader's questions. So it's questions to the Leader about matters which touch and concern the district. If it concerns anything else, let's say something that may or may not be investigative, that sits within the Monitoring Officer's office and it's not for debate in an open meeting today. Whether or not it's fact or not fact, it's not for debate today. And that is clear from the Chair. She has asked me to stress that, and I'm asking you to honour that because within the Constitution there are actions she can take unless all parties oblige with it.
Thank you, Marcia. So now I'm going to call on Councillor Pemberton, please.
Thank you. I have a second question for the Leader, but before going any further, I had intended to answer directly Councillor Cole's question. As Monitoring Officer, you seem to be indicating that I should not respond to that question, and you use the phrase whether it be fact or not. I will leave it to members whether they feel I am likely to raise a matter when I don't have the facts. But might I invite Councillor Coles to retract the phrase of making a slur, and we'll move on for my second question to the Leader.
Councillor Coles.
I'm more than happy to retract it as long as it is left to the proper process and dealt with in the proper fashion and not used in this chamber inappropriately.
Thank you very much, and it was not my intention actually to go anywhere near a code of conduct. It was more a matter around how the Liberal Democrat group operate. My second question to the Leader.
No, hang on a second.
My second question.
That was
my second.
Councillor Pemberton. Councillor Pemberton. That really was not called for. I'd like you to make an apology, please.
Chair, I will always apologise to you as the chair of this meeting, so you take my unreserved apology.
Thank you.
My second question to the Leader.
Point of order. I think it's the Liberal Democrat group that are asking for the apology rather than just to the Leader. Beg your pardon, rather than to the Chair. It is the Liberal Democrat group that you have offended by that comment.
The Chair's asked me to speak at this particular point, and the current concern is that if you are retracting and apologising unreservedly, it should be the whole chamber.
Apologies, I took it as chair of the meeting and chair, but if it's the chamber, it's the chamber. That was the intention, but I just directed it through the chair because that's what I thought everything was. Move to my second question of the Leader, if I may. Earlier, in response to an earlier question relating to development on Wood Street, can the Leader confirm that the Leader appeared in a video with Councillor Adam, in which Councillor Adam raised the prospect that he had framed as been raised to him, that there was a possibility of this district council developing housing on Wood Street. It has never been the council's policy, as far as I can understand, since 2001, that this council would ever use public car park and repurpose it for housing. And I would have thought that Councillor Adam, as a member of the Cabinet, would know that. But I just want the Leader to confirm that she did indeed appear in a video that went on social media from Councillor Adam, confirming in response to a question, because it seemed to be some doubts in that answer to Councillor Bromwich, or some clarification, I think, is what is being sought. Did the leader of this council appear in a video with Councillor Adam confirming something that is already in the public domain and public policy of this organisation, that it does not have a policy of developing public car parks for residential? Did the leader appear in that video, yes or no?
I appeared in a video and I was asked a question, and I was asked that question: would the council ever consider building on a car park that was owned by the district council? And I said no.
Thank you. Moving on, Councillor Shenton, please.
Thank you, Chair. Mine is very uncontroversial. I know.
We have only 7 minutes left.
I haven't started
and
yet,
questions.
though. So, yeah, my background first. There's around 8,500 dwellings in the Stratford district, and that are on that use heating oil solely for hot water and heating. There are around up to 3,500 properties that use LPG. LPG is an unregulated market, just like heating oil. And so and LPG is roughly 80%, or can be up to 80% dearer than mains gas. So my question is, would the leader support my view that any letter that is sent by SDC or RMP regarding the protection for those solely reliant on oil for heating and water should also include protection for those that use LPG?
Absolutely. It was going to be part of what I was going to say under the fuel poverty notice of motion. I would welcome DEFRA talking to DESNES about the particular needs of rural areas with high oil or LPG use, because funds need to be allocated to help them transition to more renewable sources of heating, improved insulation and other energy efficiency measures. And at the moment, in my opinion, and this was my professional opinion, the current funding is insufficient to have meaningful impact. So LPG, yes, definitely should be part of the representations made to government.
Thank you. Councillor Jones.
Thank you. So the leader, I know, is aware of a proposed nationally significant infrastructure project in our district, the Arrow Valley Solar Project. So this absolutely almost unimaginably vast project would cover approximately 1,100 hectares. Now that's roughly the same size as the built core of the town of Stratford-on-Avon itself. So I can't overemphasise how enormous and consequential it will be. I, like councillors Pemberton and Ballinger, represent areas that are especially affected by these proposals, which would be right on the doorstep. Apologies, sorry, yes, not just that group of people. So it would put it right on the doorstep of some of our residents. And within the scoping report, there's descriptions of infrastructure such as 3-metre-high palisade fencing, CCTV.
I'm sorry, Councillor Jones, can you tell me, is this referring to a live planning application?
So it's a nationally significant infrastructure project, and the thrust of my question will be to ask for cooperation with the wider council when we get our chance to make representations.
We can't comment or discuss live planning applications.
But because this is a nationally significant infrastructure...
Yeah, okay, that's fine, thank you.
If I may, just a quick recap, an NSIP...
We are a consultee, though.
Of course, we will be, yes. So a nationally significant infrastructure project is a parallel process that doesn't call on the usual planning channels and this council. So, clearly this is something that's going to be extremely consequential for many people within the room here and many, many of our residents. And we as a council must do, I think, what we can to work together to influence this process, irrespective of what our respective views on the overall merits of solar, to give a nod to Councillor Keithley's point earlier.
Could you get to the question, please,
Of course. So my question is threefold. So I've made the point that this is Leader, can you commit to working with me and other affected councillors to represent our residents for whom this will be so consequential? Point 2 of the question, this project will industrialise over 1,000 hectares of some of the finest farmland in Warwickshire, grade 2 and 3 best, most versatile land, for 60 years. What representations can we as a council make to the Planning Inspectorate and to the Secretary of State to protect our residents and food-producing countryside? And then finally, just a further commitment that we can work together across party on this and to do what we can to influence what will completely, permanently alter the face of our district. Thank you.
The point has been reiterated that we are merely a consultee to government, but I also have to make sure that I make it quite clear to this council that I'm a director of the Heart of England Community Energy, which is our solar panels, which is a not-for-profit charity built on contaminated land on the outskirts of Stratford. So just to be clear, that I have that involvement, as do other members of this council. But to say we are consultees, we will take due advice from the planning officers on not only, I understand it is what grade of land this is, we must take professional advice, planning advice, as part of that consultation process.
Thank you. I have two more speakers. Strictly speaking, we have almost run out of time, but I'm going to allow the questions. Firstly, Councillor Ballinger, please. Oh, you haven't got a question. Thank you. I thought you'd amended it. No, thank you. In which case, we're okay. It's Councillor Johnston, please.
Thank you, Chair. Would the leader wish to comment on the numbers for housing required in this district?
Yes, indeed, I would. The requirements for the number of houses in the district is a government requirement. There has been a commitment from government that there should be 1.5 million houses across the country, and each council has been given specific numbers. The standard method of housing has been increased, almost doubled, and the council has to take regard for that and undertake. What is important for us is not just the number of houses, but how we can make sure that we get the South Warwickshire local plan in on the due date in December. And why? Because the legislation changes, and the legislation that will be coming under the new NPPF and other guidance from government will severely restrict not only the council's involvement in deciding where and how we will plan for houses, but also community involvement. As it stands, and as the latest consultation, the Town and Country Planning Association is severely concerned about the risk of removal of democracy about decisions on housing for our area.
That ends question time. Now going to move on to item 14. We now have some notices of motion. The first motion is addressing fuel poverty. This motion, once proposed and seconded, will be debated. I invite Councillor Juna to propose the motion.
I'd like to propose this motion for two reasons. One is because I'd like to be able to show what this council is doing now, but also what it has done in the past. It was this council that, in 26 years ago, that set up Act on Energy as an energy efficiency charity, and that has been a great success in giving advice to a lot of people on energy efficiency. But we have up to 15%, it's 14.9%, I believe, up to 15% of this district that is affected by fuel poverty in 2025. And many of those people that are affected by fuel poverty are in rural areas that are reliant on oil and LPG for their heating and hot water. The conflict that has arisen in the Middle East with Iran has raised again the implications that come with our exposure to volatile global fuel markets. 83% of the public are worried about their energy bills, and will become more so after the increase that will come in July. Heating oil and LPG customers have been particularly hit by the energy cost bill rise because there is no cap on their energy costs, unlike electricity and gas. It is a notable fact that the profits made by the top 100 oil and gas companies in the world in the first month of the war against Iran was £30 million every hour. That was profit that was made. But that amount of profit is done at the expense of people that are finding it more and more difficult to raise and meet their costs. We're doing a lot at the District Council to provide advice, information and support already, but we need government to become more ambitious on energy efficiency and would welcome DEFRA talking to DESNES about the particular needs of rural areas with high oil or LPG needs and the funds that are needed to help them transition. And so this notice of motion asks that the report is brought forward by this council on what further measures can be taken by this council, but also on addressing the government on what they can do.
Thank you, Councillor Junot. Do I have a second? I invite Councillor Coles to second the motion, please.
Thank you, Chair. I second the motion and reserve my right to speak.
Lovely. Now, do I have any members that wish to speak on this? Councillor Littlewood, Councillor Shent and Councillor Charles.
And Councillor Jones.
Councillor Littlewood, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, the leader's introduction to this item is clear, and on this side we agree. Rural communities are more affected by both LPG and oil than other communities within the country. And I note what the leader has mentioned and reported on in terms of profitability, but if we are going to talk to central government, we should remind them that they're making more profit probably than the oil companies out of this through taxation. So in general, I think on this side we agree with the motion, and I would be surprised indeed if is there anybody in this chamber that doesn't agree with the actions taken. So I would also move that we go straight to the vote rather than debate. Thank you.
Well, I do have 4 more speakers. So, and they put their hands up before you suggested that, so I am going to go to the speakers if that's okay. Thank you. Councillor Shedd.
I'm grateful, Chair, and even more so, as I live in a ward which has predominantly oil or gas heating, and I would ask whether we could just amend this slightly, so where we see oil, we put /LPG, amend it at, I think it's about second paragraph, and point number 6, I think 5, of 5, where we add in just LPG. Hopefully it's not a contentious item, as we've already agreed that LPG is as big an issue as oil. Not quite as big, I will say, but a big issue.
I'm happy to accept that. It wasn't. I did mention LPG in the next point.
It's just in the actual motion itself. It's meant as a friendly amendment, that's all.
Completeness, I'll second that amendment. Sounds like it's accepted, so.
May I just read it out? It'll say, attention of ministers and asking for further protection for those solely reliant on oil and LPG for heating and hot water. Or LPG. Okay, is everyone happy with that tiny amendment? Thank you. Thank you very much. Where are we? Next speaker, Councillor Jones, please.
Thank you. Yeah, I think some interesting points raised, and of course it's important to offer appropriate help to residents in volatile times. I do think some of the wording in this motion contains some confused thinking as the best way to help, and there are bits of it that I feel unfairly portray local businesses and don't recognise the impact that they've had on costs and some of the things that they're trying to do to help. So I just want to get some of those points out there to make sure that they're public knowledge. So as I understand it, we've not yet had contact with any local fuel companies that are delivering locally, and to find out what help that they've been offering to customers. So I don't think it's fair to sort of always demonise local businesses, who are probably employers and family businesses too. So some of the things that they've been doing includes reducing the minimum order requirements for delivery, so as to help people out in these difficult times, providing self-service pumps for residents who require small amounts of fuel in case for whatever reasons you don't want to or can't afford to do a larger purchase in one go. I do think that the notice of motion demonstrates that we haven't completely engaged with experts in this area and sort of understand how both businesses and consumers operate within this sphere. And I don't like the language that sort of appears to imply threats against companies who have seen their own costs rise overnight. You know, there was an interesting interview that Ed Miliband did with the BBC in which he was put on the spot about, you know, what profiteering, where have you seen this? And he was unable to give examples. So I do think we always need to make sure that we respect the businesses who supply all of our power and our heating in these difficult times. One other thing that I think is well worth mentioning that hasn't been mentioned here is that a really quick, easy and efficient way to help people who have got the oil boiler infrastructure in their house is actually to replace it with a newer one. So the people who are paying the most money are people who have the oldest oil burners in their house. You can really quickly get one in for the cost of between about 2, 3, maybe 4 grand, and that will almost immediately start paying. Well, it's significantly cheaper than, for example, an air pump infrastructure refit, or to, you know, particularly in an old cottage, to refit sort of insulation. So usually a cheaper and sometimes quicker way to help people more immediately. So I think the thrust of what I'm saying here is that we really haven't mentioned business other than in a positive sense in this motion. It could be massively improved by acknowledging the hard work that people are doing locally to help consumers on the business side as well. Thank you.
Councillor Holmes.
Thank you, Chair. I am very happy to support this motion and appreciate some of the amendments brought forward by other amendments, and thank Councillor Juned and Coles for bringing this forward. Across Stratford-on-Avon, and particularly in my very rural ward, many households are off the gas grid and rely solely on oil, LPG, or solely electricity, including my own. And when prices spike, they're hit straight away. Current projections have prices rising on average by about £160 from July. That is not fair for our residents picking up the pieces due to global instability and illegal wars. The real issue is that we keep ending up in the same place every time there's a global shock, because we are tied to expensive, dirty fossil fuels. We need immediate support. We need to help people now with their bills, with advice, and making sure that no one is left out in the cold. And I think continuing with the hardship fund, as one example from the council budget, will be a great support for some of our most vulnerable residents. But if that is all we do, we'll be back here again at the next crisis having the same conversation. The long-term answer is simple: homes in this district that are properly insulated and energy that is cheap, clean and produced here in Britain. Too many homes across this district leak heat. People are paying to heat homes that cannot hold it. Insulation is the quickest way to cut bills, and we need government to back that properly and at scale. We also need to make it easier for people to retrofit older homes, to install heat pumps and move away from expensive oil and gas. Without that, households will remain exposed to the same price shocks. Renewables are cheap. They lower bills. The more power we generate from clean, homegrown energy, the less exposed we are to volatile fossil fuel markets. And solar is a big part of that. For households that install it, it cuts bills month after month and gives people real control over their very own costs. And we should be going much further to support its rollout. And I'm really pleased that the council's done so much with the climate change grants to give our village halls the ability to install solar, and with battery storage too. Another thing that matters hugely comes to new housing. We're still building new homes in this district with gas as standard, and this makes no sense. It locks people into higher costs from day one and ties them to the same volatile markets that we know are the problem. So, if we get it wrong, we're going to be building the next generation of fuel poverty into the system. This is where the government needs to do far more to work with local councils like ours to do so. We're on the ground able to deliver some of these schemes. We need immediate support now, but we also need proper long-term action to fix the system. This means insulating homes, supporting retrofit and investing in cheap, clean, homegrown energy. That is how we cut bills for good and get to the heart of ending fuel poverty with clean, reliable energy produced here at home. So I'm very glad to support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Holmes. Councillor Alcock.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, very much echoing what was said by Councillor Littlewood, and also how positive to see councillors on both sides of this chamber agreeing on what is something that makes a difference to people's lives, and that is what we need to be doing in this situation. Fuel poverty is something that gets bandied around a lot, but as Councillor Holmes has just said, we action one crisis before we lurch to the next, and that is what we need to do as this council, is to put in the action that stops us from having to do that. Yes, there are people out there who are now going to be in financial difficulties because they don't have a choice but to buy the oil, and the LPG is going up. It is going up at a rate that is unsustainable for most people. And though I'm sort of trying to understand how it can be said that, you know, these businesses who provide that, you know, that they're not, you know, making the profits, they're not profiteering from this. They are a business. They will be profiteering from this because that is what businesses do. And that goes the same with the gas and electricity as well. We need to look at sustainable, long-term energy that is clean and gets people away from fossil fuels that they're currently stuck in. Yes, cost is always going to be an implication, and that's where this council needs to step up now. We need to help those homes that need insulating. We need to help the homes to get away from using old fuels and to have solar panels. That's something we can start doing. And that's exactly what we should be doing. I'm happy to support this motion because it shows exactly what this council needs to be doing for our residents in this area. And I would hope that other councillors would also support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Alcock. Councillor Pemberton, you've already spoken on this. Oh, I beg your pardon, it was Councillor Littlewood. I do apologise, Councillor Pemberton.
Yeah, like it is like the Danny DeVito Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. You can't tell us apart.
Absolutely.
I think I hear what Councillor Alcock says, and I think perhaps Councillor Alcock's passion might have got a little bit the better of it in that to suggest that all businesses profiteer and that private business by definition leads to profiteering, bearing in mind that part of the solution will be private businesses. I think just a word of caution there, that there are businesses who do profiteer and there are some businesses who operate on that business, but by no means all. I think I would just temper that or suggest we do temper that, because when we do get to a solution for this thing, we will want both public sector and private sector to work in partnership to address the issue to the benefit of all residents. And I would just gently make that sort of observation.
Thank you. For now the speakers, I go to Councillor Coles, who seconded the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. You'll all be delighted to know, as we're all roughly in agreement on this, I've removed 14 of the 15 pages of my closing speech, so we all get to home before it gets dark. Yeah. So basically, notice of motion. This is the problem, and our priority is to do what we can for our residents, and if it's something we can't do, we make representations to the bodies who should be doing something about it. That's what this notice of motion is about. We know the problems, we're all aware of it with our residents. Do you want the other 14 pages, or are you happy with that as a summing up? All right, you're all right. I second this motion again and ask everyone to support it. Thank you.
Thank you. I call upon Councillor Juna to sum up. Thank you. as the proposer.
Thank you very much indeed for your support. As Councillor Cole said, two parts to this. One is what can the council do, and that is to bring a report forward on what is within the council's own powers to do something, but also to continue to make representations. And we have already spoken to at least one of the MPs, if not two, about taking this forward to government. The government we do need government help on this one. At the moment, current funding is insufficient to have meaningful impact, and therefore it does need to be addressed. The war with Iran is not going to end soon, I'm afraid, and this is not the only war that will have impact on prices. It is essential that we plan for the future, make sure that we've got are protecting people from the impact of international affairs, and making sure that by next winter we are aware and also doing something about those people that are going to be impacted by fuel poverty and all costs of fuel next winter. So thank you very much indeed for your support, and I hope that we can get something really moving on this one.
Thank you, Councillor Junod. Now I'd like to go to the vote on this. So can we have a show of hands on all those who are in favour of this motion, please? Do we have anyone against this motion? And any abstentions? One abstention. Thank you. That motion is now carried. Oh, yes. Can somebody call Councillor Wally Hoggins back in, please? Thank you. I'll wait for her to return. Thank you. Someone's gone. Olivia. Are you still all cold down there? Is it all cold? Has it been mended? Just turned it off. Oh, there you go. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Councillor Hoggins. Thank you. Right, so we move on to the second notice of motion on road repairs. I'd like to call on Councillor Alcock to propose the motion, please.
Thank you, Chair and members. Shall I carry on? Bringing this forward today, I was looking to come and present a lot of facts and a lot of figures about potholes and number of potholes and who's fixing said potholes. But then I realised as soon as I would get a page of figures in front of me, they would actually be out of date, because new potholes appear every single day, and also some are fixed. So, as I'm not a councillor to come here with incorrect information, I'm actually going to step away from the facts, not the facts, but I'm going to step away from the figures of the motion. We are in, as we've already...
Excuse me, Councillor Alcock, is there a point of order here? Councillor Fleming.
Yes, Chair, I'd like to make a point of order.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
We're constantly reminded by the monitoring officer that we shouldn't be debating things that we can't control. Potholes are not in our remit to fix. They're administered and corrected by Warwick County Council and British Highways. They're nothing at all to do with the District Council. So my point of order is, why are we discussing this in this council chamber today?
I think because part of the motion is to actually ask those that are in charge to yeah. And Marcia, do you want to add to that? No, okay. So there is a point to this motion in that this council will ask the relevant bodies to act on our motion. Is it a point of order, Councillor Pemberton?
Well, it's more a request that I think there's some confusion perhaps potentially about where the line is, and if not for this meeting, I think it would be helpful if the monitoring officer could perhaps issue some guidance so that there are not points of order raised unnecessarily. But I think it's legitimate to question whether, you know, this, as it's a county council and national highways responsibility. So I think perhaps it would help members moving forward if the monitoring officer might commit to providing some guidance for us moving forward, so that we're then actually on the same page. I'm a simple Brummie boy, Councillor Alcock, and I do need it explained to me as a 5-year-old.
I'm going to call on David Buckley to respond. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. It's myself that clears the notice of motions for discussion at Council. I'm very happy to have a conversation with Councillor Pemberton outside at any point. In relation to this issue, it does impact the residents of the Council, and that's why the Council area, that's why it's considered, the action is considered to be a letter to the County Council on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Are we all clear? Is it a point of order, Councillor Wally-Hoggins? Please do go ahead.
I'm really concerned about this notice on motion, given the fact that we've got a council meeting coming up very soon as well. And the reason I'm concerned about this is that actually I'm concerned that Councillor Alcock could be politically profiteering by including this, or attempting to do so, by including this notice of motion here, when actually all of this and anything to do with fixing this comes down to the county council. I'm deeply discomforted by the fact that this has been allowed to continue, and that other matters that do relate to the district council have been vetoed from this agenda. So I am concerned about this, and I do believe that it is an attempt to politically profiteer about this. Thank you.
I disagree with you, Councillor Wally-Hoggins, and I'm going to allow Councillor Alcock to continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. We've already heard in this council chamber that we have a cost of living crisis, that people, residents in this district are struggling. Because of that is happening, we're all aware that happening, we all talk to our residents who it is happening to. A blown tyre on a family car could actually mean the difference on a family paying their rent that month or not. And as we're all well aware, when you hit a spiral of debt, it is very, very difficult to get out of it. And that is what this motion is about. It's about making sure that our residents in this ward, in this council, I beg your pardon, are aware that we are backing them. It's not just also about that. It's also about the safety aspect. A motorcyclist hitting an unseen pothole can come off and break a bone. A cyclist, that could be a lot more serious, and it does happen. But we know, we're all aware of this. It's not new news, but it's a sheer number of potholes we now have, which is the talking point. As is number that is being fixed. Now, fixing a pothole isn't, as has been reported and as I've seen myself, putting in a couple of shovelfuls of tarmac, stamping on it 4 times, getting back in the truck and driving away. All that does is, it's a temporary repair, and within a matter of weeks that same pothole is back, but normally in a worse condition than what it was before. And the circle starts again. It's also a monumental waste of money.
30 seconds.
We as a council need to insist on proper professional work on potholes being carried out. Temporary fixes are just that. It's a never-ending circle. And we need to ensure for the safety of our residents across every single ward of this council that we are asking the questions that need to be asked. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Ballinger Are you going to reserve your right to speak?
I'll second, Chair, and reserve my right to speak. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any people wish to speak on this, please? Right, I have Harding, Councillor Wally Hoggins, Councillor Jenny Fradgley, Councillor Fleming, Councillor Crump. Any others? Right, I'm going to start with Councillor Harding, please.
Councillor Parker.
Councillor Parker.
Thank you, Chair. As a former highwayman myself, I thought I'd just... I'm just challenging Councillor Crump here. I'm just going to chip in here and fill in a few details. But seriously, I'd like to make an appeal for chips. Surface dressing. We don't see very much of it these days, but it is cheap as chips. You're looking at between £3 and £5 a square metre, which is, you know, you're looking at £30 a square metre if you're going to plane and resurface. If you chip and tar the road surface, you're waterproofing it. That can preserve the length of the road's life by 10 to 15 years. Once you've got water in the road surface, the frost gets in, it spools off, you've got potholes, then it's too late. It's too late. You have to plane and resurface. Pothole filling, even if it's a cheap one, I mean, that's going to cost you between £40 and £90, depending on the severity of the pothole. It's not cost effective. But this is a national problem. It's been building up. Road maintenance has been the poor relation for many years. It always gets put back. Every time finances are tight, there are more cuts, it's always road maintenance that gets put back. And it's short-sighted, and it does lead to more accidents. Research in my own team showed that surface dressing alone can save between 10 and 15% of wet road accidents every year through improved skid resistance. So it's worth doing. You get your money back in casualty savings. Damage to vehicles. One of my neighbours hit a pothole in my ward, £1,500 worth of damage to her Mini. County Council came out and fixed it fairly quickly, but it was too late. I mean, we all pay for this one way or another, either through our taxes or through repairs to our vehicles. And I suggest, and I'd just like to make this final plea to the County Council, please up your surface dressing commitment. Next year, they're proposing to do 80 kilometres. That's only 2% of the network. I think they could do better.
Thank you, Councillor Harding. Councillor Wally Hoggins.
I note with interest the comments made about wasting money from the other side of this chamber in relation to this matter. However, this is not just restricted to the Stratford district or to Warwickshire. This is a nationwide issue. And actually, as a district council in a rural area, I've got first-hand experience of this. So we abut the Cotswolds and Oxfordshire. And the particularly worst bits in my patch, no pun intended, relates to when it hits the Oxfordshire border. And if you go on to what Fix My Street, literally some of these roads are just obliterated by yellow blobs. So that is not good. It's turning into a spectator sport, really, for many. The Rollright Stones Road, which passes the Rollright Stones, is part of that, is within my patch here. And on a dark night in the wet, you can fully expect to see, you know, in excess of 8 vehicles waiting to be collected for roadside assistance due to the damage being caused. But this damage hasn't happened on Warwickshire territory. They're keeping up to date with that, keeping that situation resolved very quickly and very promptly. This is happening outside our areas. And I ask all councillors, when residents tell you that a vehicle has been damaged by a pothole, do please ascertain where this damage occurred. Did it incur in Warwickshire? Because actually we should be writing to all of the councils that we abut, because there has to be more joined up thinking about such repairs. And merely blaming or attempting to blame Warwickshire County Council is, frankly, narrow-minded and would go to my original point of order. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wally-Huggins. Councillor Jenny Fradgley.
Thank you, Chair. I fully acknowledge that this is a national problem, not just a Stratford district problem, but we do sit within our county council that does have responsibility for highways, and that is the body to which we should address our residents' real concerns about the difficulties of driving. But I'm just standing here to raise the difficulties of cycling. For cyclists, the roads are becoming excessively dangerous. There are potholes in strategic places where, as a cyclist, you're moving out to avoid traffic coming past you, and you're being directed straight into a pothole, which you just can't avoid. And the other day, I had to stop my bike in the middle of a busy crossroad because I was about to go into a deep pothole. Really, really, and I got lots of interesting comments as I stopped. It really is important, but there are a number of other issues, like the breakup of road surfaces, the crazing of a road surface for a bicycle is really, really difficult because it reduces its stability. There are roads, Waterside and the Lucy's Mill Bridge. They've got these strange breaks in the surface, horizontal breaks across the road. They're wider at the pavement end, the bit that the cyclist uses. Those are incredibly difficult when you've got heavy traffic passing you on Lucy's Mill Bridge and you're bouncing over these regular cracks in the road. Extremely dangerous. I have raised that several times, but nothing's been done as yet. And the other really sort of difficult bit is when you get drop drains and lots of water around drop drains, really difficult, right in the passageway of cyclists. So I just make a plea that when we write this letter, we highlight the difficulties for cyclists. If you drive your car in, you're going to have a lot of expense, and I quite agree with what Councillor Alcock has said. That really affects, in cases, our residents being able to get to work. But if as a cyclist you come off, it could actually be the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Fradgley. Councillor Fleming.
Thank you, Chair. I hope I really wasn't misunderstood when I made the point of order. I totally support this. I've got absolutely zero problems with it. And I don't think anybody else in this room would have any problem with it either. And quite honestly, what I'd like to do is to move straight to the vote and see if we can get this clarified straight away. Thank you.
We have 4 more speakers. Are you happy if we go straight to the vote? Yeah? The speakers are Councillor Crump, Councillor Parker, Councillor Adam, Councillor Littlewood. Are you all happy that we go straight to the vote? Yes. Lovely. Thank you.
Because of the time, yes. No, I normally wouldn't, but and I didn't have a chance to respond to Councillor Harding's wonderful puns, so thank you, Chair. I'm in full agreement to move on. Thank you.
Councillor Scorer, you have something to say.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to second Councillor Fleming's.
That's absolutely fine. In which case, we go to the seconder of the motion, please. Councillor Ballinger.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Councillor Alcott, for bringing this important matter to the Chamber today. Residents in Ulster West have become increasingly concerned because of the lack of pace and action on our roads with potholes. Down the A46, we've got incredible craters in the road. On the A435, going towards Bidford direction, we've had major issues there where I've had residents contact me and also other councillors. Reports are going in all the time. I'm reporting, but it's just a lack of pace. Also, the quality of the workmanship of the road is low grade, and these temporary fixes only last not long at all. So I fully support this motion and urge all members to send a clear message, a united message, that we need decisive action. Our residents deserve roads that are safe, reliable, properly maintained, not short-term fixes, and leave problems unresolved. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Banjo. Councillor Alcock, would you like to sum up, please?
Thank you. Very brief summing up to be done then. I'm not going to read out the notice of motion. You all have it in front of you. I don't see a reason to read it out. I will say that I do get this is a nationwide problem, and you know something, district councillors sat all around the country in my position can do exactly the same thing I've done and help to put pressure where pressure may be needed. As it is, thank you for your support in this motion. I do believe it is something that affects every single resident in every single ward, and as such we can show that we are a council who will take action. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Alcock. May I please have a show of hands for all those in favour of this motion? Is there anyone against? Anyone abstaining? Councillor Mills. Councillor Mills is abstaining. Thank you. So that is carried. Thank you very much. We now move on to the motion 3, funding of warm hubs. In accordance with council procedure rules, once proposed and seconded, the motion will be referred to the Cabinet for consideration and report without debate. I invite Councillor... Oh, point of order, is that point of order?
Not really a point of order. I just wanted to reassure Councillor Fleming that work is already being undertaken to see what support we can provide. Warm hubs are being contacted, plans are afoot, so we're delighted
That's
to
not a
support
point
this.
of order, I'm sorry.
No, it's a
Councillor
point of, don't worry, so,
okay.
you know, okay, but we're on it. But
Right. Okay. I believe I'm going to go to Councillor Shenton to propose it. We still have to...
Thank you, Chair. I'm not quite sure what that was all about. We sent you a note back in February about it. Hence why we moved on to a motion to try and just push it along. The point about the motion is that both Councillor Fleming and I are very keen on warm hubs, and we're aware, as the motion says, of a shortfall in funds. So I'm proposing this. I won't go into any greater detail at this stage and leave it at that.
Well, we're not debating it anyway, but
yeah,
thank
that's
you.
Right.
And the seconder, Councillor Fleming.
Yes, I'm happy to propose that. Maybe retain a right to speak if it becomes opportunist. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just confirm with the proposal of the seconder that what's being proposed is the amended version of the motion?
Yes, indeed.
Thank you very much. Number 4 motion, support for a safe cycle route from Stratford-upon-Avon to Shipston-on-Stour. That is referred to Cabinet, but would Councillor Hatch, would you like to propose it?
I'd like to propose this motion.
Thank you. And a seconder, Councillor Curtis.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to second this motion.
Thank you, and that will be referred to Cabinet. Thank you very much. Item 5, this will be debated. Stratford South Western Relief Road Rail Infrastructure Clearance. This motion, once proposed and seconded, will be debated. I invite Councillor Passingham to propose the motion.
Right, thank you. This issue came to light when an article was published in the Stratford Herald on the 2nd of April that highlighted 3 options for the Western Relief Road corridor. The article was a summary of a study that was done to
for the South Warwickshire local plan. One of the options was, as it stated in the article, for a cheap road option of about £90 million. And we all know £90 million, when it actually comes to building something like that, it's going to be something like 200. So to most ways of thinking, it's not cheap. But it meant that to get a cheap road option, that it wouldn't be necessary for a road to have a bridge that cleared the Stratford to Honeybourne rail link track, which would in effect stop rail being built in the future. This track has been reserved for the last 50 years for reinstatement of the rail track. But this was done for the South Warwickshire local plan. And a year ago, we took part in a preferred options consultation on the South Warwickshire local plan that chose this sustainable travel and economy option. At least there was a general conception at workshops that were held in this room that was the best option that was presented to us out of the 5. The core transport policy in that was for the adoption of a hierarchy that must be applied to all new developments. The hierarchy is priority 1, active travel, walking and cycling, which includes walking and cycling. Priority 2, public transport, bus and rail. Priority 3, shared mobility, car clubs and bike hire. And priority 4 was private motor vehicles. The decision to commission a study that does not specifically rule out building a relief road without sufficient clearance to preserve the track for the rail and give road the priority completely reverses the priorities that we all agreed to.
30 seconds.
And for this reason, we brought forward this motion, which is saying no to a relief road design that blocks future rail. The design must meet Network Rail clearance, update studies and applications to include a rail bridge ready solution, and planning and funding proposals, including full provision for rail compatible bridges. Okay.
Do we have a seconder to this motion?
I believe that's me, Chair.
And are you reserving your right to speak?
I am reserving my right to speak.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Councillor Coucher, please.
Chair, I wish to propose an amendment to this motion, and I wonder if that could be distributed to members now.
Councillor Coucher, is it a friendly amendment?
I have mentioned it to Councillor Passingham. He wishes to, I think, accept the amendment as an addition to his proposal. I would want to speak against that in terms of proposing this amendment.
Yeah, so we'll just have 5 minutes to look at the amendment. Thank you.
Sorry, Chair, a point of order, because obviously this is going to be fresh on people's desks. Can we have a few minutes to digest it, an adjournment?
I've just said that, 5 minutes.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, it is a formal adjournment. Thank you. Oh, dear, my leg.
We've got warm in here now. Tony, can you fix the heating?
Okay, councillors, we are ready to begin. Thank you. I'm going to ask Mr Buckland to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Council, for the break, and hopefully just to bring some clarity to where we are at present. There has been circulated a proposed amendment from Councillor Coucher to be seconded by Councillor Keithley. I'm not sure we actually got to that point, but that was the plan. In looking at the wording of the original amendment, motion and the proposed amendment, yes, it could replace items 1, 2 and 4 of the original resolution, but not item 3. The amendment is silent in relation to the instruction about the particular letter, and any amendment cannot negate the original motion. So in considering the amendment, it would be to replace items 1, 2 and 4 on the original motion with the proposed amendment. And just for further clarity, Council will debate that amendment in the first instance. If successful, then that will become the motion, and then we'll have a further debate about the motion. If it's unsuccessful, then of course we'll revert back to this substantive motion as printed on the agenda. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So I call on Councillor Coucher to propose the amendment to the motion. Thank you.
Firstly, I'd want to say I'm grateful to Councillors Passingham and Parker for raising this issue. I wasn't aware that there was confusion about what we are trying to do in terms of the South Warwickshire local plan in relation to both providing a western bypass and also protecting the rail route south of Stratford, which goes past Long Marston. We are all aware, because we've had endless meetings about it, that continues on, the difficulties in producing the South Warwickshire local plan and the importance of significant development at Long Marston, and therefore the desperate need for a western bypass around Stratford to serve that, but not to the exclusion of potentially reinstatement of the railway at some time in the future. So the purpose of my amendment to this is really to make it very, very clear in terms of what this council is committed to. The report that's been done by our consultants provides a number of scenarios, but I want to make it absolutely clear that where we are is that we will be protecting this potential rail route so that should money ever become available for reinstatement, that could be considered it's not prejudiced by doing it. The most important thing for us is obviously finding the funding for the western bypass and sufficient funding obviously to pay for the rail bridge, and that is the purpose of the amendment that I'm putting forward to you today. I'm quite happy to accept number 3 in relation to the Greens proposal. Very happy for us to communicate that very, very clearly, both to our consultants that that's our preferred option, but also to the Highway Authority, or Transport Authority, Warwickshire County Council, and anybody else that the Green Party wishes us to inform. But I just wanted to make sure it's absolutely clear about where we stand in relation to this matter. And therefore, I would propose that my amendment that I am proposing today on behalf of the Liberal Democrat group replaces 1, 2 and 4 in the Green motion, but retains number 3.
Thank you. And Councillor Keithley.
Yes, I'm happy to second that proposal. Thanks. And I'd like to reserve my right to speak. Can I do that?
To councillors, do you have any comments, please? So, Councillor Pemberton, Councillor Parker.
I would defer to Councillor Parker at first as one of the proposers of the motion. So.
Thank you. Councillor Parker.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councillor Coucher, for bringing forward this proposal. I think that it's, it is gratifying to hear the words of support for the retaining the bridge at the full height over the rail line from you. You did not, unfortunately, explain during your opportunity to speak why you have brought this forward and why you felt that items 1, 2 and 4 did not meet that which you said. And I do feel that to bring this forward, it's incumbent upon the proposer or the seconder to lay out why this is a better set of words than the words that are in the motion as brought to council. And until that happens, I feel that I cannot support this additional resolution, but I remain open-minded if someone could explain why it is better than the 3 paragraphs offered. I do note, and obviously I've not had long to look at it, but I do note that it is softer on the notion of retaining the rail clearance. And so at this stage, whilst open-minded, I am minded that we should retain paragraphs 1, 2 and 4. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Parker. Before I bring in any further speakers, I need to announce the 3-hour rule. It is now 8 minutes to 5. Due to the time and in accordance with the Constitution, a vote is needed to continue the meeting. Unless this vote is not carried, the remaining business will be considered at a time and a date fixed or at the next ordinary meeting. Can I have a vote to continue this meeting? Thank you. Is anyone against? Thank you very much. I'm now going to bring in Councillor Pemberton. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. It's been the settled will of this council, both under the previous administration and this, that the option of some form of rail route along the Greenway is part of the mix. And I have seen no technical evidence that suggests that we should deviate from that. What we do have now is a new potential route that could be more deliverable than the previous route for a relief road. And the technical evidence provides specific options to consider, a sort of small, medium and large approach, if you will. The small approach being one which is described here in paragraph 1 as the minimum cost scenario that will not allow for rail of any description to be built at as part of the mix. And that is a fundamental shift from where this council has been before. And I would urge and caution members on the basis of an amendment to a notice of motion to change that fundamental position. Moreover, if this was an addition to the 4 recommendations, it would make more sense. Councillor Parker is absolutely right that this completely softens, and what this motion seems to do is to reinforce and restate the position that rail should be kept as part of the mix. And it seems logical that to do so you reject the one option for a relief road that excludes rail. That seems to be a logical thing to do. Merely saying that in preparation for the examination in public, funding will be sought, and to ask that the Chief Executive write to the County Council to update the highway study, to me, fundamentally changes our position in relation to any form of rail solution. Strikes me that 1, 2 and 4 are not in any way incompatible with our current position, nor do I believe that this motion in any meaningful way fetters our opportunities
30 seconds.
and in effect maintains what our position should be. I think that softening this, then we may seek funding for fundamentally shifts. I cannot support this amendment. As I say, if this was a number 5 in addition, it wouldn't be harmful. But to replace the clear mandate to maintain the prospect of rail as being part of the mix is wrong, a retrograde step, and I, for one, could not support that, and I would urge other members, particularly those who feel that climate change is important to us as a council, should reject this motion as well.
Thank you.
That's
thank
me.
you very much, Councillor Pemberton. Any further speakers on this? Can I call upon Councillor Keithley, please? Oh, I do beg your pardon, Councillor Junot.
I would urge all councillors to look at the technical evidence that's on the South Warwickshire local plan and the Atkins Realis and all the other evidence. Considerable the work has been done. The rail was updated and the report was updated in 2024, so quite recently. But one of the things I would like to add to the mix is what is going to happen to local government. Because not only have we got the South Warwickshire local plan and the crucial date that we have to work to, but there actually may be further opportunities in the future to work on improving the rail infrastructure ahead under the strategic local authorities that will come when we get the work that is being done by Worcestershire, Gloucestershire and North Cotswolds, if they become reorganised into strategic authorities. And it's because we await that we must make sure that the rail line is protected in order for that work to be done. Now, that would not necessarily be done soon, because we do need government investment. But the significant scale of proposed development in the arc between Worcester and Leamington has made a case for improved public transport and has made a bigger case now to go to government for further investment, and it will need subsidy. It is quite clear from the report that not only investment, but there will need to be subsidy, but we must make sure that we are protecting all of these options for that future local government of the future and the strategic authorities when they are all able to come together and bring all their plans together.
Thank you. Councillor Keithley. Oh, Councillor Parker, you've already spoken. I'm sorry.
It's a point of something.
Well,
if that's possible.
Nice try. Is it a point of order?
Yes. I'm advised by someone who knows a little bit more than me that it is a point of order. No, I'd just like to request a recorded vote, should this move to the vote. Thank you.
That's absolutely okay. Do we have enough people that will support a recorded vote in the room?
We only need a seconder.
Oh, we need a seconder for that. Okay, and we need...
Chair, that's fine. It's been properly requested and seconded, so yes, there will be a recorded vote in relation to whether to replace items 1, 2 and 4 with a proposed amendment from Councillor Councillor, seconded by Councillor Keithley.
We still have further speakers, though.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, Councillor Coles.
Thank you, Chair. From my point of view, I would just like to make it clear there is no intention to dilute anything. I don't think that there can be anything clearer than the sentence to say our plans are, we're drawing up a plan that includes building a bridge to maintain future reinstatement of the railway. That's it. That's what we're going to do. There's no shuffling. There's no sliding around. That's the plan. That's what we're going to do.
Thank you, Councillor Coles. Councillor Littlewood.
Thank you, Chair. I hear Councillor Cole's words, but the reality is that it has to be written down and clearly put out that what will happen and what is not intended to happen. I mean, I have to reflect on what Councillor Pemberton said. This amendment in it and of itself is not harmful to the original motion in any way. In fact, in some ways, it's supportive. But it is not supportive if you remove 1, 2 and 4 of the original clause. This is a complete... What is written on this amendment does not refer to that in any way whatsoever. So as a helpful and constructive amendment, I cannot support it.
Thank you, Councillor Littlewood. Councillor Passingham. Microphone, Councillor Passingham.
The items are ask for more than what is in Councillor Couch's amendment. The item 1 calls for the cost scenario, which was the first one, the cheap option, to be rejected. Item 2 asks that all future design iterations include a bridge at the right height for rail. Item 3, Councillor Coucher accepts. And item 4 says that any future road explicitly excludes cost and engineering specifications which are not rail compatible. I mean, that was the problem with this original study, in that the specification included the possibility of spending a lot of money looking at one scenario that would have disregarded the protection of the rail route. So I would say that the other points are not covered by what Councillor Coucher is proposing, but I do accept. I'm very glad to hear that Councillor Coucher is against the option, the cheap option, and I would agree that it could be added to this list of 4 items.
Thank you, Councillor Harding.
Thank you, Chair. I can understand why the Greens were worried about this. Looking at the technical report written by Atkins Realis, it says this cost of 80 to 100 million pounds. This indicative cost does not allow for a bridge that would support the reinstatement of the Honeybourne rail line. And for that reason, I was initially inclined to support the Green proposal, because, quite frankly, the best way of preserving that rail line is to build it. And then you can't put a road across it. And to my mind, you should put the road in first, because that helps to determine what type of housing you can have at Long Marston. High density, low cost, first time buyer, which is what we need. Anyway, that's me being idealistic. My usual line, pauses for laughter. Thank you. But having seen the amendment, I really do think this covers everything that we need to preserve this railway line.
Thank you, Councillor Harding. Any further speakers before I bring the seconder and the proposer back? Thank you. So, Councillor Keithley.
Thanks, Chair. Well, I'm pleased to see it as well. I think we need to protect that railway line. Whether it gets reopened or not is another matter, but we need that option in the future. So I think the Greens have done a good job in bringing this forward. However, I don't think that they should be unduly worried about all these different items in their proposal, 1, 2 and 4, because actually they don't refer to the South Warwickshire Local Plan, which is the process that we're going through at the moment. And the amendment that Councillor Couch has suggested actually ties the road and the funding and the construction of that road to the examination in public of the South Warwickshire Local Plan. And you haven't done that in 1, 2 and 4. And moreover, in point 3, Councillor Couch is agreeing that the council should write to the consultants to ensure that the protection of that rail route is written into their report and clarified. So in that respect, I'm very happy with the proposal that replaces 1, 2 and 4, but retaining number 3, which is this council's response to the consultants to make sure that we do not prejudice or limit our options in the future, which need to be retained. So thank you. That's all I want to say on that matter.
Thank you, Councillor Keithley. Councillor Coucher, please, to sum up the amendment. Thank you.
I'm thankful to both Councillor Harding and Councillor Keithley, who I think have made very, very clear points here. I think What we've tried to do with the amendment here is to make it crystal clear precisely where this council wants to go. We don't want to fiddle around with advisory reports and other matters here. I think what has been put forward in this notice of motion is potentially softening, because that's been described that we're softening the arrangement. I think it's softening it because it doesn't, as Councillor Keithley has quite rightly said, doesn't tie it into the South Warwickshire local plan and appears to be a standalone item. What we want to make sure that we both go forward with a western bypass for Stratford, which is so very, very important, both for the town and also for facilitating Long Marston as well. And at the same time, we do not prejudice the possibility at some time in the future that the rail line will be reinstated. And you can talk about the design of the bridge or whatever. What we want to do with this council is demonstrate very clearly what our preference is and make sure that that is included in the plan going forward. And that is the whole purpose of this amendment. So I would suggest to colleagues that clearly the amendment is clear, it's precise, and it's relevant. And I think there are other elements in relation to one, which I think, frankly, is included in what is being said in the amendment. In two, which is also implied in that, and a planning application, frankly, I think that is a matter for the future. That's a mechanistic part of this, and frankly doesn't need to be prescribed today. So I would recommend colleagues to support the amendment, which is as set out on the amended sheet, with the addition of number 3 from the Greens motion. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Before we go to the recorded vote, I'm just going to read out the amendment, which is: this council resolves, in preparation for the examination in public into the South Warwickshire local plan, funding is sought for Stratford Western Bypass, including building a bridge over the Greenway that could accommodate the reinstatement of the railway at some time in the future. Number 2, to instruct the Chief Executive to write to Warwickshire County Council and Atkins Realis to formally update the highway capacity study requirements to reflect this safeguarding priority. We will now go to a recorded vote.
Thank you, Chair. So when I call your name, could you please indicate whether you're voting for, against or abstaining for the amendment that's been proposed by Councillor Coucher, seconded by Councillor Keithley. I'll start with Chair of Council, Councillor Rolfe.
For.
Vice Chair, Councillor Rice.
For.
Councillor Adam.
For.
Councillor Alcock.
For.
Councillor Ballinger.
For.
Councillor Bromwich has left. Councillor Brown.
For.
Councillor Coles.
For.
Councillor Coucher.
For.
Councillor Crump.
Against.
Councillor Curtis.
For.
Councillor Eden.
For.
Councillor Fleming.
Against.
Councillor Ian Fradgley. Councillor Jenny Fradgley. Councillor Gist.
For.
Councillor Grocott.
For.
Councillor Harding.
For.
Councillor Harrison.
For.
Councillor Harvey.
Against.
Councillor Hatch.
Against.
Councillor Henches-Herefin.
For.
Councillor Holmes.
For.
Councillor Johnston.
For.
Councillor Jones.
Against.
Councillor Junid.
For.
Councillor Keithley.
For.
Councillor Littlewood.
Against.
Councillor Mills.
Against.
Councillor Organ.
Against.
Councillor Ostrander. Councillor Padgham.
For.
Councillor Parker.
Against.
Councillor Parry.
Against.
Councillor Passingham.
Against.
Councillor Pemberton.
Against.
Councillor Petrovic.
For.
Councillor Scorer.
Against.
Councillor Shenton.
Against.
Councillor Wally Hoggins.
Against.
Thank you, Chair. I make that 24 votes for with 15 against, and therefore the amendment carried. The debate will now be with the original motion as amended. Thank you.
Okay, so we now go into debate for the amended motion. Would anyone like to speak, please? Would you like to go straight to the vote? Okay, and do you want a recorded vote? No, okay. So all those in favour of the amended motion as read out earlier, please raise your hands.
Can you raise them very high? Thank you, just so we clear. Plus, okay, that's 28. Keep them high, please, sir. You've got like a 28. Yeah. Yep. Okay, thank you.
And all those against, please.
Oh, against.
Against.
Okay.
Any abstentions?
Okay, that's carried, Chair.
That is now carried. Thank you very much. Item 6, or rather, motion 6 is now being withdrawn. Item 15, urgent business. Has anyone got any urgent business? I don't have any. Clearly, Councillor Pemberton does. Off you go, Councillor Pemberton.
That's in the other chamber.
So, item 16 is exclusion of the public. We need to take a vote if we are to hear in the next item, if we are to go into private session. All those in favour of moving into private session, please raise your hands. Is anyone against? Right, we will now go into private session. Public be excluded from the remaining business of the meeting in view of the fact that the nature of the proceedings will be such that if the public were present, there would likely be disclosure to them of exempt information under paragraphs 1 and 2 of Part 1 of Schedule 12A to the said Act. We will now move into private session. I'm going to explain what will happen. and we will ask David and Marcia to come back in the room, and we will wait to confirm. Oh, they're not coming back? Oh, okay, right, okay. It's not what they told me. Right. So, councillors, it's 5:20. I've lost my bet. I thought it'd go until 6. The next meeting of the council is the annual council meeting, which is scheduled to take place on Wednesday, the 13th of May at 11 o'clock. There being no further business, I declare the council meeting closed.